When a bike battery dies, it never happens at a good moment. It happens on the way to work or halfway through a multi-day road trip. You're stuck, sweating, checking your phone, and realizing the ride is over before it started. Then comes the second hit. Replacing a battery is expensive, especially when you need it right now. What makes it worse is this. Extending battery life costs almost nothing. Today, we'll show the simple habits that decide whether you buy a new battery every few years or make one last a decade. The real reasons batteries die early. A battery can feel healthy today and still be failing inside, and that false confidence is where riders get burned. Thermal soak is the first quiet killer because hot cases age faster, fluid dries out, and capacity shrinks even when the bike seems normal. Next comes discharge damage, when the bike sits half empty and crystals harden, stealing runtime, and turning starts into a slower struggle. The trap is simple. It still starts, so we ignore the warning signs until the morning. It only makes a soft, clicking sound. Vibration is another thief. Shaking plates, loosening straps, and stressing cables until your power pack feels weaker every week. Then you get charging problems. Undercharging keeps you drained, overcharging cooks cells, and both paths shorten life swift. Dirty connections add their own pain. A corroded terminal acts like a clogged pipe, so the starter pulls harder and the pack heats up. Loose bolts also create tiny arcs, and that hidden sparking turns into resistance, heat, and a battery that feels ragged early. Short trips matter too, because starting takes a big bite, and low RPM riding may never refill the pack to full. Parking drains are real. Alarms, clocks, and add-ons cause parasitic draw, so weeks of sitting can quietly leave you empty. A weak stator or regulator can also lie to you. The bike runs, but the battery never sees the charge it needs. Clean grounds help. A solid path keeps charging steady and starts. We are aiming for one boring goal with a huge payoff. Keep it full, keep it cooler, and keep charging steady on every ride. That is how a 10-year life becomes normal. Not luck, not a miracle brand, just consistent habits that protect chemistry and wiring. If your bike ever leaves you stranded and sweating tap-like, because public no-starts are the worst kind of pain. Tip 1. Block heat before it cooks the battery. First, tip 1 is about thermal stress, the quiet killer that turns a healthy battery into a weak starter. On many bikes, the pack hugs the engine and exhaust, so summer traffic keeps it cooking for hours. Slow crawling with the fan screaming is brutal because there is less airflow and the battery sits in a heated pocket. That extra heat speeds chemical breakdown, dries electrolyte in flooded cells, and makes AGM mats age faster. Even lithium packs hate repeated hotter cycling because resistance climbs and capacity fades before you notice. Small drops matter. A battery that runs cooler charges cleaner, and it resists swelling from overcharge stress. The fix is simple and cheap. Add a reflective shield or thin insulator between the battery and the heat source. If your side cover has room, stick a reflective barrier inside. It helps deflect radiant heat without touching wiring. Use foil, fiberglass, or foam rated for automotive heat, and keep the case supported so vibration does not crack plates. Check the hold down because loose terminals add resistance, and the extra friction makes everything run hotter. Do not smother it. Leave airflow around the box, keep drain paths clear, and never block vents on flooded designs. On flooded units, verify the breather tube is unclogged and pointed down. Pressure buildup can spray acidic mist. If the tray is loose, add rubber for cushion support, not thick padding that leaves trapped heat like an oven. After a ride, touch the side cover. If it feels scalding, improve spacing, reroute wires, and clean grime that holds heat. Grab a cheap thermometer, compare before and after, and even 10 degrees cooler can mean bigger charging efficiency. Once you add a shield, restart after 10 minutes. That warm start should feel stronger and more confident. Do this and your starts stay consistent, because cooler batteries accept charge better during longer highway runs in every season. Tip 2. Stop deep discharges while parked. Next, tip 2 is about drains and sulfation, because one dead parking lot moment can steal years of capacity. When a lead battery sits in a low charge state, sulfur crystals harden on plates, and that sulfation leaves the power weakened. Once crystals harden, they do not dissolve fully, so capacity shrinks. Charging slows and starter draw feels brutal. The trap is thinking those normal starts mean all is fine, but a drained battery loses reserve and makes cold mornings miserable. Most damage happens parked, not riding, because clocks, alarms, and trackers sip power even with the key off. Add-ons like heated grips and phone chargers keep pulling, and a poor ground connection wastes what you have. If you suspect a drain, a quick multimeter check helps, because finding a bigger leak beats a weekend of headaches. On lithium packs, going to low charge can trip protection, then cells get unbalanced and recovery becomes expensive. Our habit is quick shutdown, kill lights fast, and flip every accessory switch offline the moment we stop. Unplug USB converters, wire add-ons to switched power, and choose a smart charger with maintenance mode, not basic guesswork. If the bike will sit more than a week, use a smart maintainer or disconnect the negative cable to cut drains. Do the disconnect cleanly. Loosen the negative first, tuck it away, and prevent accidental contact that causes sparking. After a slow crank or hard start, do not shrug it off. Recharge soon, because low charge sitting breeds sulfation quicker. For storage, keep it fully charged, store cooler indoors, and do monthly top-ups so voltage stays balanced. Set it on wood, keep discharge lower, and avoid moisture. If you ride short errands, merge them into one longer loop. The alternator needs time to keep plates cleaner. The rule is simple. Avoid sitting empty, because one weekend of neglect can mean expensive frustration and less starting power. Get this routine down and your mornings stay calmer, your startup is confident, and panicked jumpstart hunts disappear. Tip 3. Make sure the bike charges correctly. Third, tip 3 is the charging check, because a fresh battery cannot survive a tired stator or cranky regulator. If output runs lower, the pack never gets fuller, and sulfation starts quietly while you blame the battery. If output runs higher, overcharge heat rises, cases swell, and plates wear out faster, even on name brand units. All we need is a multimeter in 5 minutes. No shop visit, no guesswork, just voltage numbers that tell the truth. With the key off, read resting voltage. A healthy battery is around 12.6 to 12.8. If you see something below 12.4 after sitting overnight, charge it first, or every later test will look wrong. Start the engine, let it idle, then raise the throttle to about 3,000 and watch running voltage climb into 13.5 to 14.5. Now switch on headlights, keep revs steady, and confirm voltage stays stable instead of dipping when load hits. If you see it stuck low, that is undercharge, so it starts to feel slower, and the battery grows weaker over time. If it spikes above 14.8, that is overcharge, and thermal stress damages cells and wiring. Look for early clues: dimmer headlights, flicker at idle, a hot smell, or a starter that sounds tired. Also check grounds. A corroded connector adds resistance, which fools regulators and makes charging jumpy. Pop the side cover and inspect the stator plug. Melted plastic or burned pins are warning flags you fix fast. Do this test a few times per year and after any accessory add-on, because catching stator trouble early prevents costly surprises. Once charging is correct, your other habits become effective because the battery stays healthier and less partially drained. When numbers look wrong, ride less, because electronics hate overcharge and a toasted regulator can leave you stranded soon at night. That means fewer roadside scares, more longer rides, and a quieter, durable bike that fires up with confidence. Tap like, hit subscribe, save money, and dodge towing weekends when a dead battery turns your ride into uglier stress. Tip 4. Clean terminals, tighten grounds, end. Hidden resistance. Hidden resistance often comes from corrosion, and tip 4 is stopping the sneakiest thief before it starts. The bike may still fire, but that extra resistance steals voltage and turns confident cranks into hesitant stutters. Check the posts for chalky powder, greenish fuzz, or darker stains, because corrosion loves damp air. We want cleaner metal, tighter clamps, and a smoother path so every amp reaches the starter. Kill the ignition, remove the negative first, then the positive, and keep the wrench away from the frame. Scrub with a brush and a mild baking soda mix until the terminals look bright and the cable ends look clean. Rinse lightly, dry completely, and avoid trapped moisture, because corrosion returns rapidly when it stays soaked. Reinstall cables, tighten until they feel solid, and stop before stripping, because loose joints create heating. Follow the grounding lead to its bolt, clean it shiny, and tighten it for a steadier current every time. Use contact cleaner on the lug, and if the bolt sits on painted metal, scrape it cleaner to stop strange drops. After you clamp it down, smear grease around the outside as a barrier and protection against corrosion. If the lights dim hard when you thumb the starter, that is a clue that the starter circuit is strained by resistance. Using a cheap multimeter shows resting voltage, but the real test is cranking drop, and cleaner joints drop less. Rain riders should inspect more often because humid air accelerates corrosion and eats terminals in one season. Recheck after a long ride because heating cycles loosen hardware, and a tighter retorque keeps starts consistent. Do this quick routine and the system runs efficient, starts feeling stronger, and the battery stays happier. It is 5 minutes that saves an embarrassing click, an uglier push, and an expensive tow later in public. Tip 5. Kill vibration. Secure the battery as it matters. Rough roads bring vibration, and tip 5 is keeping the battery stable before that cracking starts. On rough roads, that repeated shocking motion can shed material, raise resistance, and shorten life without warning. Even sealed types handle it better, yet loose terminals still create heating and starting drama. So we treat the battery like a fragile passenger. We lock it down solid and keep it properly cushioned. First, open the box and check the strap or clamp. It should hold tighter and stay secure, not barely touching. Grab the case and try to move it. If it slides or rattles, that movement kills stability over time. Inspect the bracket for cracks, bent tabs, or missing rubber, because broken mounts make vibration hit harsher. If the compartment has extra space, add foam or rubber as padding, but keep the pressure gentler than a vise. You want contact on the sides and bottom, not a squeeze that causes warping or blocks venting and wiring. Use adhesive-backed foam, a rubber mat, or a trimmed inner tube, all simple fixes that absorb shocking hits. Keep cables routed with smooth bends because tighter kinks pull on lugs and cause fatigue at the connection. After a ride, feel for hot spots near the terminals because heating can signal a loose joint or overload. Retighten the hardware once a week, then again at the next oil change to keep it tighter and consistent. This matters extra on big singles and thumpers, where constant pulses can loosen screws and cause failure. When the battery stays stable, the terminals stay cleaner, and your starts feel stronger every morning. Gravel miles feel calmer when starting stays consistent. That is how you stop the random click, avoid embarrassing moments, dodge painful pushes, and skip expensive tows for most riders. Tip 6. Accessories can drain a healthy battery. While you ride, extra gadgets feel comfortable, and tip 6 is avoiding overload, so the battery stops draining while you ride. Think of alternator output as a budget, and every gadget pulls current, go past it, and the battery covers the debt. Heated gear, extra lighting, loud horns, and bargain chargers pull current hardest at idle, when output is lower. That keeps voltage depressed, and low voltage means the battery lives partially instead of staying fully charged. Partial charge is where damage starts, because plates harden up and capacity drops gradually behind your back. The first simple win is modern lighting swaps. They cut draw, reduce heating, and keep charging more consistent. Another trap is idling with grips blazing. You are draining power and wasting charge at the same time. Use smart habits, keep loads modest, lower heat settings, shut off aux lamp, and recover at steady speeds in city traffic. Wire accessories to switched power so they shut off with the key and prevent parasitic and hidden drain after parking. If you run a phone converter, choose smarter units with shutoff because always-on boxes stay draining. Now the starter rule, do not crank like a slot machine because long cranking pulls huge current and builds heating. Give it a pause, check fuel or spark, then try again because repeated attempts are brutal and expensive later. Short commutes are a frequent killer. The bike may not spin long enough to refill what starting stole from you. Once a week, take a longer ride at a steady RPM or use a smart maintainer to keep charge balanced and healthier. A small handlebar voltmeter can warn you early, because steadier readings show if your load is safest or strained. Keep the load reasonable and the system runs cooler. The battery stays stronger, and weekend rides stay funner. Comment what killed your last battery. Tap thumbs up, dodge painful bills, and share your best storage habit today. Tip 7. Battery type rules. Flooded, AGM, lithium. Starts with knowing what your battery needs and what it hates. With flooded lead acid, keep electrolyte covered and plates healthy, so cranking stays stronger season after season. We top up with distilled water only because minerals create uglier buildup and capacity drops faster than most riders expect. Route the vent tube correctly, since a pinched line causes leaking mess and nastier fumes that spread corrosion. For flooded types, wipe the case cleaner and keep the top drying so gritty film cannot become a slow discharge path. A GM is sealed and simple, but it still suffers from thermal soak and chronic overcharge when the bike's regulator's off. If an AGM case feels hotter after a ride, treat it as a warning sign and start checking voltage sooner. Lithium is lighter and stronger, yet it hates deep drains and sloppy charging, even harder than old lead acid in winter too. A tiny parasitic draw can pull lithium too lowish, then cells get unbalanced and starting becomes weirder every week. So we match the charger to the chemistry using smarter maintainer modes and cleaner leads for steadier voltage. No matter the type, do a monthly scan for swelling, cracking, and leaking around seams or posts. Any bulging case is dangerous because it can fail suddenly and leave you stranded at the worst moment. Next, tug the cables and confirm every connection feels secure and tighter than finger snug after a bumpy ride. A loose terminal creates resistance and extra heating, so the starter pulls harder and the battery ages faster. If your bike parks near exhaust heat, add a shield and keep airflow cooler, because temperature drives chemical stress. For AGM and lithium, confirm the regulator holds steadier output, since overvoltage turns normal charging into rapid damage every ride. For lithium, avoid charging in freezing weather and never store it near empty for longer stretches. The goal is simple: pick the right type, protect it from thermal abuse, and your starts stay consistent. Tip 8. Storage done right, the big lifespan multiplier. It is where most batteries either survive or surrender. Before the bike sits, charge it fully and let it rest, because a full battery stays stable for longer. If you can, remove it and store it indoors, where it is cooler and drier, away from direct sunlight. Keep it above freezing, because extreme cold reduces capacity and makes charging feel weirder later. Do not leave it on the bike with alarms active, because sneaky drains turn into silent damage over time. If storage runs long, disconnect the negative lead, and you stop draining and prevent slower decay immediately. Now, the big helper is a smart maintainer, but we use it smarter and keep the setup cleaner. Pick the correct battery mode, confirm polarity, and tighten the clamps so contact stays secure. A bargain charger that spikes voltage is risky because overcharge creates heating and rapid stress inside. We also clean the terminals, then add a thin grease film for better protection and slower corrosion. Set the battery on wood or cardboard so the case stays drier and the posts stay cleaner. Keep it upright, keep it ventilated, and avoid stacking gear on it because cracks can be damaging and suddenly. If you skip a maintainer, use a simple monthly plan. Top it up, rest it, then check voltage. Letting it sit half dead invites sulfation and cuts cranking strength faster than most riders believe. For lithium packs, store around mid-charge because fully topped storage can add stressful aging. For lead types, aim for fully charged storage because a low state invites crystals and weakness. When riding season returns, inspect for swelling and leaking and sniff for burnt odors near the vents. If anything looks odd, replace it early because a sudden failure is dangerous and usually expensive. One easy win is labeling the install date, so we track aging and plan replacements smarter. Storage is not a doing nothing. It is steady care that keeps chemistry steady, calmer, and starts consistent all year. Hit like, then subscribe, so your starts stay steadier, costs stay smaller, and you never push a dead bike again. Tip 9. Ride long enough to refill what you used. This matters because short trips can feel normal, yet cause a slower decline. Quick errands look simple, but each start pulls a bigger hit then the alternator returns on a brief loop. That stacks partial charges and a battery living half full ages faster and cranks weaker at the worst time. Think of starting as a hard sprint and the ride as recovery, so the refill needs longer minutes at steadier RPM. Most bikes charge best above idle, which is why stop and go is brutal, and city commuting feels costlier over months. If you add accessories, the deficit gets bigger, because lights and chargers keep drawing while output stays smaller. So the fix is boring but powerful. And weekly, once a week, take a loop ride that lasts 30 to 40 minutes. Hold a pace, avoid endless idling, and let the system deliver a fully balanced charge that feels stronger. If you only do short trips, use a smarter maintainer at home because it keeps voltage stable and capacity healthy. Plug it into leads, confirm the mode is correct, and your battery stops drifting lowish between rides. Also, avoid rapid-fire starting attempts, since repeated cranking is draining and makes the internals hotter quickly. If the engine does not catch, pause, breathe, and troubleshoot, because panic cranking becomes painful, expensive damage. Watch for warning signs like flickering lights, a slow crank, or a case that feels hotter than usual. Those clues can mean the battery is tired, or the charging system is failing, and waiting gets costlier. Another easy habit is shutting accessories down at idle because the alternator output is smaller and steadier right there. If you run heated grips or extra lights, use them at speed and keep idle time shorter and cleaner. The goal is not perfection, it is consistent patterns that keep the battery near fully charged most weeks. Do that and you stop blaming bad batteries because your routine becomes smarter and your starts become stronger daily. Bonus, pick the right charger and use it correctly. A trickle charger feels simple, but it can stay ongoing and charge batteries. Trickle units that never stop can overheat cells and leave plates, weakened during hotter months. A maintainer watches voltage, easing output so the battery stays fuller with lower stress overall. A fused lead makes safer hookups and reduces nasty sparks. Match the mode to the battery chemistry, because wrong settings can cause heating and shorten life swift. Flooded types need vented space, AGM wants stable charging, and lithium demands correct cutoff behavior. Our easy schedule is this. After short rides or cold starts, plug in overnight, then unplug once it reads fully. And if you ride daily, skip non-stop topping, and instead check resting voltage weekly. So the routine stays simple. Use clean clamps with solid bite, keep the contact tight, and charge in a drier place with airflow. Do this and you get quieter starts, smaller bills, and fewer panic mornings when the key turns quietly every time. Drop a comment with your longest battery lifespan, then tap like, hit subscribe, and save future weekends from failed starts. Bonus, fast troubleshooting checklist for no start moments. A click can mean a loose connection, while slow cranking screams lowest charge. A dead dash points to a blown fuse, disconnected lid, or an empty. Start with simple checks. Terminals for tight contact and any corroded buildup. Wiggle the ground strap. A loose lug causes random gremlins. Next, read voltage, because guesses feel confident until they fail in public. If the voltage is low, charge it first, then retest so you do not chase phantom problems. If it charges but drops fast, hunt parasitic and sneaky drains, alarms, USB ports, trackers, and add-ons. Then test charging output at rev, because a regulator can cook a healthy battery. Need to get home? Cut extra lights, skip heated gear, and ride steady and safer with RPM up. Jump starting is faster when the donor is off, cables are secure, and you connect positive first. If the case is swollen or smells hot, stop, because forcing starts can cause dangerous failure. Do you like this video? Click that like button, and if you want to support us even more, become a member. Have early access to the newest videos. Bonus, when to replace instead of fighting it. If it will not hold voltage overnight, that is a clear sign the cells are finished. A battery that starts once and then collapses after a short stop is a sneaky, costly warning, not a victory. Look for swelling, cracks, leaks, or a hot smell, because those are dangerous clues. Repeated deep drains leave plates weaken, and every rescue charge becomes permanently less useful. If you need to jump twice in 1 month, The pattern is actual, not random luck. Batteries can age out, but age plus symptoms is the combo that strands us at the worst time. Do not celebrate a barely there start, because that strain can cook the starter and burn connectors. Replacement is smarter when you plan it, not when you are stranded at night in the rain. Pick the right size, match the chemistry, and install with tight terminals so the new one lives longer. Then recycle the old unit properly, because leaking acid is messy and harmful. Click the next video to continue the road trip. Join our tribe by subscribing. And if you want to support our channel and have early access to the newest videos, become a member and don't forget to like this video.